Welcome to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I am Stacey Earlywine, and I'm not sure when this is going to air, but what a snowstorm we had.
Oh my goodness, that was crazy. Stacey was stuck in it.
Yeah.
Over in what?
O'Fallon.
O'Fallon.
Yeah.
Well,
I get it. I jinxed us.
Oh, did you?
I jinxed us because I'm like, the winter's over.
No, it's
not.
It wasn't over. It wasn't over. So today's what? February 18th, 19th, something like that.
Something like that.
And this past weekend in Clay County, Illinois, we had a thunder snow, and it just came up quick, and we got a lot of snow in a short amount of time, and the roads got really bad.
Yeah.
Really quick.
I had never, ever in my life heard of thunder snow.
It's happened. You don't remember?
I apparently know. I guess I will never forget this since I was stuck in my car in the Olive Garden parking lot.
Yeah. No, the last one I remember was 10 years ago because it was the same day as my girls' birthday party. It would have been 10 years in March. It was like the third week of March. It was a big thunderstorm. March 26th of 2014.
I'm telling you, it came up
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. And it was heavy and wet and deep.
And the like everybody was off in the ditches. It was crazy.
That was awful. Jackknife trucks. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Whenever you can't even back out of a parking spot.
Yeah. How many hours did it take you to get home from Fairview Heights?
Angela and I left Fairview Heights about 1:30, and I got home at 6.
Yeah. That should have been an hour and a half drive. That's really crazy.
Yeah, I was thinking it was beautiful. I mean, it's like Mother Nature. I mean, come on, it was stunning because it was a whiteout, and the trees were more magnificent. It was beautiful.
I watched it all from my living room. I was safe at home with my sewing machine and my good friend, and we were having a little sewing party.
Yeah.
So we were fine.
Well, it is like, because I love the snow and stuff. I've been at home just chilling out. Yeah, but boy, when you're out there, and people were like, you couldn't even get off on a
shoulder.
On the shoulder because you didn't know where the shoulder was at. Well, Angela and I actually sat in the Hobby Lobby parking lot, like 2 car spots away from the where the handicapped people are at, so we were really close to the building. Couldn't see the sign.
Oh, my.
Couldn't see the Hobby Lobby sign because it was such a whiteout, such heavy snow.
Oh, wow.
We didn't even know where we were at.
Oh.
After a while, it's like I can't even remember where we're at in the parking lot.
Well, I hope you had plenty of gas because I know you like to run your gas tank low. I do the same thing. She and I are alike on that.
Okay, so I'm usually prepared. Here's the other thing. So we were meeting our friend Paula in Lebanon, Missouri to go to a Christian retreat, a women's retreat that weekend. So it was me and Angela in the car. We had water, we had soda, we had snacks, we had clothes. And I'm usually prepared because when I worked for Paul Mitchell, I traveled a lot to Chicago in the winter times. If I ever got off, I never did let in the wintertime, I never let my car, when I'm going to be on the road, never let it get below like a half tank. And but I had like food and water and blankets and boots. When I used to travel, I didn't this time because I was like, this time I didn't have the boots, so I literally wasn't prepared. But I don't know why anybody ever leaves their vehicle. I would never, in a situation like that.
I know.
I would never leave. Where are you going?
I know. It's like it's the same mentality of like in a horror movie when they're like, I think we should split up. Yeah. Like, don't do that. Never do that. It's the same as like when you're in a car in bad weather and you're like, I think I'm going to get out of the car and start walking. No.
Blankets, pillows. I always even carried like a ginormous candle with lighters. Oh, no, I was prepared whenever I was traveling to Chicago because you never know what's going to happen.
Oh, right.
I was not prepared for this to happen. But we did have, just because we were going to be gone for the weekend, we did have pillows and because we were going to a church camp where you had to have, so we had pillows. We wouldn't have froze to death.
Right.
We wouldn't have starved.
Right.
I don't know how I would have got out of my car to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. You would have had some yellow snow right outside the door. But luckily you did make it home that evening.
It was the craziest thing I've ever experienced in my life. Yeah, it was weird. And you just don't expect thunder and lightning when it's snowing.
Yeah, no, it's weird when it happens.
Yeah, and the people in the Olive Garden, because Angela and I pulled into the Olive Garden about noon. We were going to eat lunch and then head on over to Lebanon, Missouri. And we pulled into the parking lot. You could see grass. There wasn't nothing. And then we literally sat down, and the waitress came, and then it started to snow. 45 minutes later, 4 inches were on the ground. And everybody in the Olive Garden was just like, But if you got to get stuck.
That's a good place to get stuck. That'd be all right with me. Unlimited breadsticks, I'll be here all evening.
It's like, how much cheesecake do you have? But yeah, and then driving home was like crazy. And I do need to say that there were 4 semis jackknifed in the road. They were all Walmart trucks. So Walmart might want to reconsider their drivers.
Yeah, it might have been the way they were loaded too and going down the hills or something, because weird, I did speak to someone about that, and some trucks are loaded differently, and I don't know, that had something to do with it. So
they just jackknifed, and all the poor cops out in the world.
Yeah,
all the policemen.
Thank you for dealing with all that. They have to stand out there, because direct traffic and help people get out. And save the day. Yeah, and then they're at Lebanon, like they because you got people coming from Scott Air Force Base. When I always travel 50 when I'm going over to St. Clair, and but I never take the Scott Air Force Base. I had an uncle that was killed over that area when I was about 3 years old. Oh, okay. In the 70s, so I just never go that way. I always go on up to where the Mascoutah. The Mascoutah exit. I want to get on the interstate as soon as I can. So literally, like Angela and I were got off the interstate, and right there where that where they're building off like that Domino's and stuff there. I mean, it was all the way into Lebanon, and then we got closer and closer because there was a semi-truck jackknifed, coming toward, after you go through the stoplight where those beautiful homes are at and start heading toward Flora. There was he was jackknifed right there by that old Casey's, but now it's a weightlifting place. Yeah. So we were not only backed up all the way to the interstate, they were also backed up all the way off the interstate by the Scott Air Force Base. Miles and miles for those of you that aren't from around here. That was miles and miles and miles of traffic backed up. Yeah, me and Angela just taking pictures. Well, at least you had someone with you that you could visit with. That's nice. Oh, yeah, we were in there together. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, what an ordeal. I'm glad you're okay. Yeah, like I said, I usually don't. I'm usually like, whatever. I don't freak too much out. That freaked me out bad. Yeah. But you know what? The other day I was coming through, and I'm always looking for fun ads, and I remember this ad coming up. It's an 80s ad. Oh, I love the 80s. So Tammy Harris, a friend of ours, has been cleaning out her home, and so she's been bringing me all these magazines. Well, she brought me a ton of magazines from the 80s. Oh, okay. So I'm just going through them, and a lot of them I remember. Do you remember that magazine First? Yes. It came out. That was a really good magazine. It was a really good magazine. It had a lot of information. But anyway, I came across this ad, which I remember when heard there's a pantyhose that's just my size. Yay! I remember when these guys came out. Just my size pantyhose. Yeah. Get more leg room, more hip room, more living room. Just my size from Legs is here. The beautiful pantyhose for tall and fuller figures. Just My Size pantyhose comes in 4 sizes, and talk about styles. There are 5 to choose from. Just My Size pantyhose, because every woman deserves a great pair of legs. I love the outfits. I love the outfits and the colors, but what cracks me up the most about this is if my kids maybe my kids might know, but other kids, they'd be like, what are they holding? Oh, right. Phone cords? Phone cord. Those phones had cords? That's weird. Why are they all curly like that? I mean, pantyhose, what's that? I mean, no one wears pantyhose anymore, hardly ever. I know there's always a few out there that do. I hate pantyhose. Oh, my gosh, me too. I hate them. The worst thing ever invented. But, absolutely. But, yeah, there's just a lot going on here. Yeah, so people don't wear pantyhose anymore. And the other thing is like I said, I love their pumps. Those are super cute. I was getting ready to say their pumps are so 80s. I went through back when I was 85, 86, when I was a senior in high school, then going to college. I had red, yellow, pink, green. Yeah. I had every color pump you could possibly ever want. I loved my shoes. I still have a shoe problem. Yeah, I love my shoes, but but I just thought that, and they heard a super cute hat and those dresses. I love those dresses. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, really cute. That's a great ad.
It is a fun ad. They're just, and
I
I
bet there's a
remember
lot of
it.
people that can remember that coming out too.
Yeah, I remember that as. But you're talking. It's like we do things from the past. We do history episodes, but the '80s is. I mean, next year, 1985 is 40 years away. I mean, my high school class reunion, 40 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, because a lot of the episodes, a lot of the things that I'm finding too are like from the 70s. The 70s was 50 years ago. 50 of 1970.
Oh my gosh. Well, we're going to keep the 70s alive.
Yes. Which I love the 70s. I love my decades. Mm-hmm. But that's what, okay, so it seems like the 20th century, you had the 20s, roaring 20s, the 30s, the 40s, every decade. What does the 2000s bring us? I don't feel like there's a difference between.
Maybe when you're living in it, you don't feel it like there's a big difference, and then later it's.
Yeah, because I'm like,
shows.
I don't know. 2010. What's different from 2020 than 2010?
What's different from 2000 to 2024?
See, I don't know. I don't think there's anything. The same to me. It all feels the same.
It's just wrong.
But like in the 1900s, you've got 1900s, very Victorian, to the roaring 20s. In 20 years, you had women. Everything changed.
Oh yeah.
Everything changed for women, and we got rid of the Victorian stuff. And now we're wearing flappers, and you know what I'm saying? Just in that 20-year period. How much everything changed.
I don't know.
And then you got the 30s and the 40s, another whole thing. Then the 50s took on, the 60s, and I just don't feel like the 2000s are.
There's not.
The 21st century just hasn't been fun like the 20th century.
I agree. Yeah. Technology is what Ty says, and that's what I was thinking too. But basically, the only thing that's changed is the size of your phone.
Right? Yeah. I used to be able to wrap myself up in a phone cord. I remember laying on my bed with my phone cord just wrapped all over me, and my dad screaming, "Get off the phone! I got a business call."
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. Technology is just.
Yeah.
Technology is not fashion.
I have a love-hate relationship with technology. I mean, there's some things that are really great about it, but overall, I kind of wish we didn't have it.
Me too, because I'm glad that and my children, my boys are in their 30s. I got my youngest son, Connor, will be 30 this year. And so they're in that, but not, social media wasn't there thank God social media wasn't around when I was in the 80s.
Or be in the 90s.
It's devastating. It's good and bad.
One kid does one stupid thing and it's recorded and everyone makes fun of him forever for it.
Oh, and then it's like on all those TikToks and all that kind of, I don't know. I don't like it.
I know.
There's a movie out there. You can't hardly find it because it keeps getting taken down. It's like a doctrine of children. I don't know. I just am thankful but my grandchildren are going to grow. Our grandchildren are going to grow up in it. And it's hard to because a lot of times the old memory doesn't let you forget things. But now when it's on TikTok,
it's there forever.
It's there forever.
And ever and ever.
So you know what we're going to do? We're going to take a commercial break, and then we're going to come back with a fun show.
Yeah,
we
have
a couple
fun
ladies we're going to talk about. So we'll be right back.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville. Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh, yeah. Give me all your guns, too.
John Lucas.
What?
You better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. We have a really fun show planned today.
You know, I like these shows.
We say that every week, but we really mean it. Like, we are going to have fun today. We have two ladies from Clay County to talk about that both have interesting stories.
They do have interesting stories, and mine's a hardship story, just the hardship of living in the 1800s, and it's kind of a hardship story, and I really like it.
We have some noise going on around us today in our studio, but so mine's about a woman who basically was living a lie in some aspects, I guess.
I do like
whether she meant to or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to cover the murderers.
Yeah,
I think we've run out of murdering.
No,
women.
I think there's still some murderers out there. I think I have one coming up. I don't think it was a woman though. It was a man.
I like the female murderers.
Yeah, I don't know about any more of those.
Yeah,
but
we like those.
Yeah.
I just like covering the ladies, and you read about their stories, and it's just, and like I said, they were the one I'm talking about. She was a woman in the 1800s, and she didn't have, like we were talking about, like the change of the turn of the century in the 20s, and just hardship life. Sweet little, cute little old lady I wanted to talk about.
Okay, so, you want to go first? You want me to?
I don't care.
Okay,
whatever you want to do, don't matter.
No, I don't care. You go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the life of Lucinda Colclasure Blankenship.
Okay.
Okay? In the pioneer days of Clay County, Illinois, dating back to the 1840s, numbered among the old settlers who helped develop this land was a couple named Austin Colclasure and his wife Caroline Bryant Colclasure. The subject of who we're going to talk about, Lucinda, is their daughter.
Okay.
And Lucinda was born in 1851.
Okay, so way back before Flora was really Flora. It started in 1854.
That's right.
So we're a few years before.
Before we're even starting
out. And little Lucinda is born.
Better known as Lucy.
I like it.
I like it too. Began school at the age of 8. And, of course, going to school, I mean, that seems late for us.
Right,
I mean,
but back
then
then that was normal.
My grandson Jack's 4 and is in pre-K, but this is just how it was back then. I'm going to grab my pen so I can kind of keep track where I'm at. My eyes aren't what they used to be.
No. Mine either.
So, Lucinda started school at 8 years old. She loved walking to school where she enjoyed the sounds of birds that fluttered along her path. So when I'm reading this,
it's like Snow White.
Who are you thinking of besides Laura Ingalls Wilder?
Okay.
Going to school, skipping along, listening to the birds. Did Laura Ingalls Wilder ever listen to the birds?
Oh, probably. No. I was thinking more like Anna Green Gables, honestly, but.
Little did she suspect that something would soon happen to take the pleasure away forever.
Uh-oh.
Disaster came in the form of the dreaded fever.
Oh.
Under which spells she lay for many days with very little chance of recovery.
Oh, no.
So she's 8 years old and the fever's coming in. And the turning point came and then she did recover, but the illness left her completely deaf.
Oh.
A problem that she lived with for the rest of her life.
Oh.
So this fever comes along. I'm not really sure because we talk a little bit later about other.
It could have been scarlet fever, yellow fever. I don't know what kind of fever.
Then, so this little girl, before the age of 10, so at 8 years old, she's going to school. She catches the fever. Now she's deaf. And before the age of 10, she loses her mother.
Oh, so the fever?
No, I'm not sure. It doesn't say. She came home from school one day to find her mom cold and still.
Where was her dad?
I'm not sure. He's probably farming.
Ugh.
They're farmers right now.
Can you even imagine?
No, I can't. It's so terrible. Eventually, she met her inspiration in the form of a young man. His name was Alexander Blankenship, and he had, I love this, he had splendid morals and manners of a gentleman.
Okay, good.
Also, he was a total abstainer from tobacco and alcohol.
Okay.
In any form.
Okay.
With Lucy's good looks, personality, and modest charm overcoming her handicap, she was also the object of his heart's desire.
I wonder how they communicated.
I don't know.
I wonder if she could read lips.
Maybe she could back then.
Yeah.
I don't know. The two were married in 1871. So she was 20 when she got married. She was born in 51. And settled on a farm on Buck Creek, where they lived humbly but happy. 2 sons were born there, Avery and Lewis. The next move was to a farm 5 miles east of Flora. So then they kind of like started going toward the Clay City way.
Okay.
Okay. So here they built a log home where they were blessed with the arrival. They had a daughter named Flo.
Okay.
Eventually they had 7 children.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
Which wasn't unusual back then.
No.
But still.
Now this is where it gets interesting. So you're from Clay County, you're here, but at one point the Blankenship thought that Arkansas seemed like the place to go.
They were not really staying anywhere too long.
No, they were movers. So they moved to Arkansas for a short time. Now, see, this is what I can't comprehend. It's like, so right now they've got 3 children, and it's like, maybe we'll go to Arkansas. Really, how do you even know much about Arkansas? Why do you think the grass is
like
gonna
it's not like you can Google pictures of Arkansas and explore their weather patterns and stuff. Like, what did they have a friend that lived there that wrote them a letter about how nice it was? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. And it's not like you're covered wagon.
Yeah.
You're covered wagoning this. So they took the long distance with covered wagons and horses and mules. They settled on a farm in Lanoke County, Arkansas, where they were again successful raising cotton and livestock, and they lived there for 6 years. And another son, Clarence, was born while living there.
Okay.
So now we've got 4 kids, 3 sons and a daughter. Well, the Blankenships were longing for Clay County.
Oh, they got to Arkansas, and then they were sad, and they wanted to come back.
Yes.
Arkansas wasn't as great as they thought it would be.
Arkansas just wasn't working for them. The Blankenships had never overcome the longing for their native land. So yielding to temptation, they sold out and returned to Flora, where another son, Pearlie, was born.
Okay.
So now, what do we got now? We're
5 boys and a girl?
Yeah, we're up to that now.
Okay.
This gets a little bit sad here.
Oh.
So, after returning to Flora, they faced dark times in their lives when they lost 2 of their children.
Oh, no.
In a measles epidemic and pneumonia.
Oh, my gosh. 2 of them.
Yeah, Pearlie and Lewis both died from measles and pneumonia. During this decade, 2 more children were born. They were Ethel and Jay Palmer. So altogether they had 7 children, 5 boys, 2 girls, and they've lost 2 of their sons.
That Pearlie must have just been a baby when the measles.
He must have been fairly little when that happened. For a while, Alex Blankenship and his nephew ran a meat market in Flora. Alex is the dad. So the husband. Yeah, we call Alexander and Lucinda are now Alex and Lucy.
Okay.
But Alex and Lucy still long for the country farm life they had experienced for years.
I'm going to stop you right there and say that I don't think these 2 were ever really, truly satisfied.
No, they moved a lot.
They were always looking for something more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
Well, and then it's weird because now they're just moving around in Clay County.
Yeah. What's the deal with that?
I don't know. I mean, because if you think about Flora, you're talking the 1850s, 60s. So
maybe they just kept getting a little bit more wealthier where they could get a bigger place.
Maybe that's what it is.
I don't know.
They finally bargained for a farm east of Flora and eventually traded this for 80-acre farm 1 mile east of the log house they had begun married life in 18 years previously.
Okay. It came full circle.
They did come full circle. The children attended Long Prairie School. We talked about Long Prairie School in one of our school episodes.
Where was it? I forgot.
Well, I can't really remember.
Me either.
I'm going to have to pull.
I kind of feel like it's out there back behind, Ubingers, that way.
I think that's because that's kind of like the area we're talking, like between Flora and Clay City where the Blankenships live. And it was just kind of back. They never came toward Xenia or very far up north. It was just everything's always east. Yeah. So I think you're right. I think it's kind of like up there. Where does what's that? The church that's up there that Mark
Bethlehem?
Luz had. Bethlehem. I think it's up in that area.
Okay.
I think that's where we're at. Long Prairie School. This would be the last move Alex would make.
Uh-oh.
He suffered an injury in a runaway horse accident.
Ooh.
And although he had two very competent doctors, Dr. Ed Park and Dr. Fairchild.
Okay.
We discussed Dr. Fairchild not too long ago on an episode.
Yes.
They could not save him.
Oh, no.
So, I mean, so he wouldn't have been
died,
he
and,
died.
and she's alone on this farm in the country with 5 kids.
Yeah.
In the late 1800s.
In the late 1800s. A cloud of gloom shadowed her home and brought sorrow to the entire neighborhood. Neighbors and friends from far and near came to pay tribute of respect to their memory of this man whose ambition was to have and to hold the goodwill of his fellow man. Here was the widowed Lucy left in a predicament, as would cause many women to throw up their hands in despair. She had children to clothe and feed and send to school. She had her health and strength, so did not sit down and feel sorry for herself. Emergency relief was not popular at the time. In fact, it was often considered a disgrace to apply for it. You know, that's something really important. So this woman lost her husband. She has 5 living children. She's deaf.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as help from the government.
Right. Well, if there was any kind of emergency relief, they were too proud to take it.
Well, yeah.
And most people were.
I really don't feel like all that really, till that depression happened in the in the 30s. That's when I think all that stuff really started.
Well, I think from the government, but I do think like area churches and stuff would try to come together and help. But I bet that most people honestly didn't even accept that.
Probably
people
not.
were very proud to take any type of charity.
Yeah. We're going to take a commercial break, and we're going to come back, and I'm going to finish and show you a picture of this little Lucy.
Okay. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to transfer money so your future will look sunny, call Clay County State Bank. We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online banking, just ask our crew. For all your banking needs, we think you will agree.
Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be. Clay County State Bank.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
It's the weekend, and your symptoms are worsening. The morning of a big meeting and you have a bigger sore throat. Ever experienced that urgency after picking up your sick child and your community health center has already closed? You will be able to connect to a provider at crhpc.org. Even if you have never been to CRHPC, you are welcome to utilize our services. Feel better after scheduling a video visit with CRHPC.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you can be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County, Farmers Mutual Insurance.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Earlywine, and I am covering the life of Lucinda Colclasure Blankenship. So
Lucy.
Little Lucy. And I'm going to have you show a picture. I found a picture of her when she was older. Ty, I'm going to have you go ahead and put that up there for me, and I'll finish that.
Oh,
look at her.
I love her.
So she lived to be quite an older lady. So this woman, she's been married. She's deaf. She got the fever. She was deaf. She lost 2 of her children to measles and pneumonia. Now her husband's just passed away, so she's young and she's got.
But not in this picture. This is when she was taken.
This was when she was older.
Older, but
and so she now she's got 5 children to raise.
Okay.
Lucy used a 2-horse wagon to market farm products, which consisted mostly of butter and eggs. Good Country butter brought 15 cents per pound.
Okay.
In summer, the butter was hung in the well with small ropes until market day. It sometimes took a whole day to make the trip to market and back through mud roads and cold weather. But Lucy never complained, and her children never went to bed hungry.
So Market was in Flora, the town, you think, and it took her all day to drive from probably, we're guessing, east of Flora, like out by Eubingers, into town and back all day to sell her butter. But at least she was making use of what she knew how to do. She's like, I'm really good at making butter. I'm going to sell it. Okay.
Around the age of 66, she became broken down physically in the lower limbs due possibly to rheumatoid arthritis.
Oh, she probably needed a knee replacement.
Absolutely. After this, she lived with her children and continued to help them in any way she could. She did any job she could do with her hands. With all of her life trials and handicaps, she fought the good fight.
Oh, bless her heart.
I mean, it's just a hardship story.
She had a hard life, but she looks happy.
Look at her.
I'm
just
sure
as
she
cute
didn't
as she can be.
Expect anything different. Back then, everybody had hard lives, really.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody
it's
had
just
loss and,
raising children and losing husbands and of course and he was killed in a horse accident. So you just don't expect it. Those people in that time, she lived
life was so different back then. And that's why we talk about it, because
and that's why we want to remember women like
that's right.
Lucinda. Think about that when you're traveling over east, and just think about the people that used to travel on those without roads.
Oh right, yeah.
Horse,
bless her heart.
Yeah. Thank you, Ty.
Yeah, that's a good story. I like her.
I did. I thought it was a good story too. Just
Okay, so I'm going to kind of talk about a different situation here, but I'm going to talk about a woman named Lilla Riggs. Okay, Miss Lilla. Now, her name was actually spelled Lilla, so it looks like Lilla.
Okay.
Lilla, and maybe she said it Lilla, but I'm going to call her Lilla because in a lot of things that are written about her, it's spelled both ways, and on her gravestone, it's spelled Lilla.
Yes,
but other things call her Lilla, so I have a feeling that she went by Lilla since so many people spelled it that way. So she was born in 1858, and she was the daughter of William Mills and Eleanor Mills. Okay, she was born in Hudson, Illinois, which is up north, and she was a school teacher. Okay. So she had this story about her and her husband. His initials were J.W. Riggs. Okay, so she's married to this J.W. Riggs, and she tells everybody that they were both on the Titanic when it sank and that they survived. Okay, so the Titanic, everyone knows the story of the Titanic. It was supposed to be unsinkable, but it did sink in 1912 on April the 15th. Remember the date, April 15th, 1912, because it's going to come up again in this story. But that's when it hit the iceberg and sank, and there were 705 survivors on the Titanic, okay? All of that is very well documented through all of the researchers and they had passenger lists, and so everyone was accounted for on that boat, unless there was a stowaway, which maybe there was, maybe there wasn't. If there was, Lilla Riggs definitely wasn't a stowaway.
Jack Dawson.
Yeah, no, she wasn't a stowaway.
No, she wasn't a stowaway.
And she's not listed on any survivor list of the Titanic. Neither she nor her husband are listed on the survivor list. They're not listed as people that died in it. They're not listed as people that survived in it. But when she was alive, none of this information had been released yet, to the public. It might have ran in the papers immediately, but it's not like people in Clay County were on a first name basis with who was on the survivor list.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know, and you couldn't
yeah.
pull it up on your computer and be like, let me fact check you, Lila. Were you really there? There was no way to do that. You just, she was an older lady. She said she was on the Titanic.
She was on the Titanic.
You were like, great. She was on the Titanic and she survived. That's so awesome, Lila. Good for you. But she wasn't.
I think Lila's a fibber.
I hate to say that because if she has people that are still living and are surviving that believe her, then they might be disappointed in us to say that she lied about it. So there's always the chance that she was confused.
There's a chance I'm confused most days, so.
Maybe she was confused.
Maybe she was confused.
Let me go on with the story, though, because it gets good. So Mrs. Riggs and Mr. Riggs had no children, and they lived in a great big old house in northern Wayne County, Illinois, but right near the Clay-Wayne line. Okay. So it does say that most of the stories about the Titanic came from Mrs. Riggs herself. So it is known that she told these stories personally. That part has been passed down. And that's why so many people believed her. Because why would she just lie straight up about it, you know? So it is very, very doubtful that she was on the Titanic. But there are people out there that would still want to argue that she was indeed. There is a website out there that I found in my research that lists all of the people who claim to be on the Titanic that were never, ever on the Titanic. Lila Riggs is on that list.
Oh.
So if you Google it, there is a website out there of false claims of people being on the Titanic. Some have huge, crazy stories. Some just say they insist they were there. She is on that list. But it has been proven by the historians that are related to the Titanic research that Lila Riggs and J.W. Riggs were indeed not on the Titanic. So her story goes that the women and the children were being placed in the lifeboats first. Many of the men just plunged right into the icy water, and that her husband did that, and he tried swimming alongside of her life raft. And he held her hand as long as he could until he could no longer survive, and he had to let go, and that was the last time she ever saw him. Now, that sounds a lot like Jack and Rose in the movie Titanic.
It sounds exactly like Jack and Rose.
I will say that she could not have copied it from that because she wasn't alive when that movie came out. She had already passed away. So
she was already gone,
Right, so she didn't copy it from the movie, but did the movie copy it from Lila?
I was going to say, maybe it did.
I don't know.
He supposedly died.
Yeah, so he supposedly died, but he is not listed as anyone that died on the Titanic. Actually, he didn't die until November of 1912. He did die in 1912 in November. That's why I said the date was important.
April. So she's saying he died on the Titanic in April,
but he didn't. He died. That part's recorded.
7 months later.
He died in November of 1912. So what Lila didn't count on was that
the calendar
that today in today's age would be very factual research. You know, like where people can look up facts. She was living in no technology, no.
So
most people didn't have
start
dictionaries
this story until after he died.
I don't think so. So, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of weird because I'm kind of sitting here thinking, be like, well, wait a minute, wasn't he at Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Why didn't I see him? Like,
did we have a Halloween party and he was there?
But she didn't have any kids. And they lived alone way out in the middle of nowhere, and they probably just, maybe they didn't see people that often and didn't have a large family. So as time went by, maybe she had a mental illness where she actually believed it too. I mean, that
could happen.
That could happen. Okay.
It could happen.
But, okay. So it was once reported by the Wayne County newspaper that their names did appear on the passenger list for a ship named the Columbia, which sank off of the coast in California in 1907. Okay, so the Wayne County Press reported that their names were found on the passenger list for the Columbia. I have searched the internet high and low for the passenger list for the Columbia. Lena Rentz Thomas, who did an article on this several years ago, she also searched high and low for the passenger list of the Columbia. I wasn't able to find it, and neither was she. Apparently, the Wayne County Press at some point did have it, but it was shown that they were passengers on that ship, which sank in 1907. Ty, I think I have a picture of the Columbia.
Oh, wow.
So this is the Columbia, and it was over by San Francisco, and it was a very foggy night. They had 251 passengers and crew, and they were headed for Portland, Oregon, under the leadership of Captain Peter Doran. And when it got to be evening, this big fog came in, and Captain Doran refused to slow the ship down. And it was known to be one of the fastest ships around. They actually had in previous years set a record of the fastest trip between San Francisco and Oregon. Okay, so they were into setting records for speed. But here he is in this terrible fog, and he could hear the whistle of another ship nearby, the San Pedro. And but he refused to slow down, and the San Pedro guy, he refused to slow down.
Okay.
They were like playing this game of chicken in the fog. Okay, thank you, Ty. And so it was really rough waters on top of that. So most of the people on the ship had went to bed early. And then the next thing you know, they're woke up by this big bang, this big collision, and then someone knocking on their door like, "Excuse me, but there's been an accident. You might want to wake up and get dressed and come out on the deck." Okay. So, it was too late. I mean, the ship was going down. It is recorded as Doran, the captain, he shouted at the other ship, "What are you doing, man?" That was like his last recorded transaction. "What are you doing, man?" But it was kind of both of their faults. And
kind of seems that way.
So I'll say that the captain of this ship, he went down with the ship and he passed away. The captain of the other ship, he survived, but he lost his license.
That's so weird that
I'm pretty sure he lost.
It's a big ocean.
I know.
I don't understand why you're playing chicken in the ocean.
I know. Some people got into lifeboats. Let's see. Many passengers did not respond to the knock on the door because they were so seasick.
Oh, can you imagine?
Yeah, so they were in their room sick. They must have been like, "Go away, I don't care, I'm sick." And then they died. So so it says, as the ship was sinking, one of the men noted that Captain Doran had tied the whistle cord down on the bridge and remained there as the ship sank. So the cord that you use to pull the whistle, he just tied it so the whistle was just continually blowing as the ship is sinking. 8.5 minutes after the collision, that's all it took. 8.5 minutes. The Columbia began her final plunge. The stern of the ship rose up out of the water, and the ship slipped below the waves in a matter of seconds. It does say once the ship was completely underwater, a large explosion occurred that sent many people dragged under by the Columbia. They had gotten dragged under, but then this explosion happened, which was actually a blessing because it just pushed them up to the surface.
Wow.
So it says many survivors believed the explosion to have been caused by one of the boilers, but other people said it had something to do with just as the ship was sinking, there was some kind of a gas or something that. But anyway, the ship that hit him, the San Pedro, it didn't sink. It was listing and it was in bad shape, but it never sank. So it started picking up the survivors.
Oh, well, I'm going to stop you real quick. Okay. We're going to take a commercial break and come back with this shipwreck story.
Yeah, we'll be back.
Interesting.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Peggle's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have galaxy bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Peggle Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Flora for all your custom and promotional needs.
The insurance specialists have options to tailor to your needs at CSI Insurance Brokers. Experienced insurance brokers at CSI are skilled with all types of insurance plans and policies and represent many companies, including Safeco Insurance. You'll benefit from their detailed expertise, unbeatable premiums, and commitment to customer service. CSI Insurance Brokers and Safeco Insurance Company, providing affordable rates on quality insurance since 1952.
For over 50 years, at your locally owned and operated Roll King Supply in Salem and Olney, we've helped you and your neighbors enjoy an easy country lifestyle. We carry the most thorough sporting goods department around with a huge variety of hunting and fishing gear, camping equipment, and a variety of firearms for any need. Our team is here to help you find whatever you need. Open every day, it's Roll King in Salem and Olney, your locally owned farm and home store.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. We are talking about a woman named Lilla Riggs who claims to have been on the Titanic when it sank. She was not. But there's a really good chance that she was on this ship called the Columbia. So if she was on the Columbia and survived that, maybe she just wanted to make her story this would have been a great story.
This is a great story.
But she chose to tell it a little differently. And
it just didn't get the props that the Titanic
Yeah, the
got.
Titanic was in the news and the Columbia, nobody mentioned it. So
I've never heard of it. So.
Yeah, so the Columbia, it had sank, and the San Pedro was picking up a lot of the survivors that it could fish out of the water. And there were 80 survivors that were brought on board the San Pedro. They were forced to hold on to one another as to not be carried away by all of the waves that were coming up over the ship, because that ship was injured and it barely limped back to port. But it did make it. It was actually towed in by another boat, but it did have the 80 survivors on there. So she and Mr. J.W. Riggs could have been there. I haven't been able to find the list from that ship, but at one point it was reported in the Wayne County Press that they were on it. Wow. So I don't know. So that was perhaps the shipwreck they were involved in, and maybe the storytellers over the years just turned it into the Titanic. That could be, although a lot of people that Miss Lilla Riggs lived to be 105 years old.
Right.
104 or 105. I think 105. And she lived a long time. And a lot of people remember hearing the story of the Titanic directly from her. So, I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, but it just seems like maybe
it's weird that, though, the story she says is like the movie, and it didn't that's weird.
Yeah, so she lived just 2 months short of her 105th birthday, so she was 104. Wow. She died on October the 4th, 1963, at the Clay County Hospital, where she had resided the last 8 years of her life. She lived there for 8 years. Basically, it was like a nursing home type situation. She was buried at Park Hill Cemetery Mausoleum in Bloomington. That's where all of her family is buried. I looked her up. Her parents are buried there. She had a lot of siblings. They were buried there. Her husband was buried there. It does say that she is survived by a niece, and this was like 10 years ago. I don't know if that niece is still alive, but the niece stood by the story that her aunt was a passenger on the Titanic. And that's okay. Maybe they know something that we don't. I'm just going by what facts are recorded, and the Titanic Museum people, no, she'd say she was not. And then her husband did pass away in November instead of April. So
that's
there was
kind
just
of the kicker right there. She said her husband drowned. He could have drowned on April 15th. And then died 7 months. That's kind of the kicker. So the niece must have just been infatuated. Maybe
it makes a great story. If you're romantic and you love the you know, the romantic side of it, and like, oh, when he died trying to swim next to her, and it sounds like
I'll never let go. I'll never let go.
Yeah,
that part in the movie haunted me forever when he did die, and then like he just fades away in the dark, cold, and Rose is crying.
And I'm one of those people that's like, in the movie situation, why didn't she scoot over? There was enough room.
There was
on
plenty of
both
room.
of
You
them.
could have stacked on top of each other.
Yes.
I was thinking the same thing. There was room on that thing. I'd have made room.
Yeah. So apparently the SS Columbia, the ship that we think that she was on it, that sank in 1907 instead of 1912, that debris can still be seen in the water if you are on the northern section of the Lost Coast hiking trail near San Francisco.
Really?
Yeah. So apparently it is.
The water's so clear you can see.
I guess, or maybe at certain times of the year, if you know where to go or where to look, it can still be seen.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I mean, it was definitely a real ship, and there's a very good chance that she was on that ship. But I don't have a picture of her. I did not find a picture anywhere. But I did the only picture I could find was the ship Columbia. That was a popular ship. I mean, it was at the time. Oh, the interesting thing about that ship, it was the first ship that had electricity, that had like electrical lights in the rooms and things, and that was a really big deal. And like Thomas Edison himself was the one that installed all those lights on that ship.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was fancy. It was a fancy ship. And if you wanted to turn off the lights in your stateroom, you had to call somebody to come and do it. You couldn't just flip a switch. There was a lot more to it because it was also new. But
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so it was a well-known ship. It just didn't have the notoriety or the story, the media coverage that the Titanic did. Yeah. And so maybe she felt like she wasn't really telling a lie. She was just kind of changing the names a little bit, just so people would understand how big of a magnitude, like the magnitude of, I was on a sinking ship. Like that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And
there are no Titanic. The last Titanic survivor is gone now, right?
I think so. I think they'd have to be.
I think it was a child.
Oh, that's the other thing about the Columbia. There was a whole bunch of kids on board, and not one single child survived it. I think over like 80 kids died in it. Like they saved the women, but it's hard for me to comprehend too. Like they saved there was about 80 people that survived, mainly women. Why were they walking to these boats without their kids?
See, I don't understand that.
I mean, I wouldn't have let go of my children. We would have all died together, and there wasn't a count.
Absolutely. I mean, I can see me getting on a boat and leaving Jim behind, but I never left my boys behind.
No, yeah,
I would have never. I mean,
there was an account of somebody that was on the Columbia that walked by a stateroom, and the family that was in it was not trying to leave. They were just all huddled together praying. And they went down together, and because they knew that they couldn't all get on a lifeboat.
Oh,
they would have had to
all
split
going
up.
down together, or we're not going. Jim would have pushed me and the kids off into a boat. He would have made us go, but I would have never left without my children.
No, me either.
I would have never left without my boys.
So I don't know how it all went down. I don't know if they were promised the kids would be in another boat. I don't know what they were told.
I still would have never left.
Because it all happened really fast, 8.5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have never left. It wouldn't have mattered. Oh, we're going to separate. We would never, just like the horror movies, I would have never separated.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You know,
so
the
8.5 minutes. Yeah. We're about 8 minutes away from the end of our show.
Oh, yeah.
So just right now, we'll just say we just had a collision. Boom, it just happened.
Yeah.
And then here in a little bit, we'll be like, okay, we're done. We're
done.
Already sunk.
And all because somebody's arrogance. Why? It just doesn't.
We might be a little less than that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But did now you said that the guy that caused the wreck, he did not die?
Well,
which captain died?
The one on the Columbia, the one that Lilla Riggs was probably on. The other guy did not die. There was a link. I don't think I screenshotted the link about what happened to them afterwards.
He's the one that basically caused the accident, right?
Yeah, but there was a court-martial. All the captain's mate, a whole bunch of people that were involved that survived it were reprimanded, lost their licenses, and weren't allowed to captain any more boats. But the one guy did die.
That's
but,
crazy.
And it's hard to point blame. They were all to blame.
They were all to blame. They were all to
everybody.
blame. It's just silly. Yeah, I love. I mean, I love the Titanic. I love watching stuff about the Titanic, and I've been to the Titanic museums there in Branson. I don't know. I just find it absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, just like, Have you ever been to one of them Titanic museums?
I went to a traveling Titanic show thing that was artifacts from the Titanic that was like traveling through the United States. It wasn't actually at a musume.
Yeah, this is the one in Branson's really, really good. I loved it. It's amazing. But anyway, so our quote, inspirational quotes today. I like this one, and I'm anxious to get your opinion on it.
Okay.
It's by Roger Miller. Some people walk in the rain, others just get wet.
Deep thoughts by Roger Miller.
Deep thoughts, yeah. Some people walk in the rain, others just get wet. Where do you think he was going with that?
I think, some people walk in the rain and they're like, oh, isn't this a cool experience?
See, I love
I'm
walking in the
soaking
rain.
it in,
Yeah.
I'm living life, and other people are just
getting
going through the
wet.
motions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you living life or are you going through the motions?
Yeah.
I think that's what he's comparing.
I love walking in the rain. I love it. One time when Jim and I were first married, we were living over there on Clan Street.
Oh yeah, I remember that story.
Oh yeah, and me and Jim and Molly are just taking a walk, and it's a beautiful sunny day,
and then downpour.
And then you could just see it, just like a sheet. We just got when we were in Mexico the other day, we took a walk, beautiful night, got down so far, and it was like, was that rain? And we were being poured on by the time we even got back to our room.
Well, at least it was warm. I don't mind rain if it's warm outside, but I don't like a cold.
Oh, I don't like a cold anything. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
they were both warm rains, so that was good. But
yeah.
So
Roger Miller.
Yeah, Roger Miller. Yeah, didn't.
Is he a singer?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh.
I don't know who Roger Miller is.
He seems familiar.
I don't know, but that was interesting. I like to talk about two different women.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good show. Very different women. I wish I had a picture of Lilla, but I do not.
I wish we had a picture of her, too.
Yeah.
Lilla Riggs.
Yes. So if you're interested in learning more about the passenger list of the Columbia, you could try to go on a search for that somewhere. There is probably a passenger list there, and I bet that her name really is on that one. But it's not easily found if there is one. So I almost wonder if you'd have to call like the San Francisco area shipwreck. I don't know. There's probably a society for that. They might be able to track it down. But as far as I can tell, it's not shared anywhere on the internet.
Yeah.
So interesting. As always, you can watch us on channel 100, Wabash TV, daily at 11 a.m. Our new episodes air on Thursdays and Fridays. And you can always find us on YouTube. That's where all of our episodes are. All 100 of them. We have done over 100 episodes now. Yay for us. They're all on YouTube. You can catch them there anytime. Our YouTube channel is By the Way with Beth and Stacey, so you just have to type that in on the homepage. You can also email us at bytheway@gmail.com, as well as follow us and like us on Facebook.
Very important to like us on Facebook.
That's right.
We want to be liked on Facebook.
Our Facebook page is called simply By the Way with Beth and Stacey. So that's where you can find us. And I think that pretty well wraps it up. We're not quite to the ship sinking.
No,
we're not 8 minutes in, but
we are 2 minutes away.
We're 2 minutes away from the ship sinking. So just imagine from the time I said boom to now, it's pretty well gone.
Yeah.
You got a couple of minutes to jump in that last lifeboat.
Get in the lifeboat, whatever you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even imagine me being it, because when I get nervous, I'm a chatty Cathy, and I don't even know I can't even imagine what I would be like.
You'd be like, what's happening right now?
What's happening right now? Where's the orchestra?
Yeah.
Where's the orchestra? I'm going down with the band.
Can someone play me out, please?
Don't cry for me, Argentina. I don't know why where did that come from?
I don't know. We can throw a little Evita onto the ship.
I don't know. Gosh, my brain is crazy. But
we're not going to make it to the ship sinking, but we're close. So just watch on your clock there at home. A couple minutes from now, the ship is gone. But
all right.
Until next time, we'll see you later.
God bless you and have a great day.